Good morning and welcome to my garden. I love these foggy mornings. You can see the water droplets in the air just floating right in front of your face. The spiders' webs that go from tree to tree, they weren't there last night, but the spiders have been so diligent overnight and they're all through the branches of the trees. It's a really lovely way to wake up and come out here and see all this. This morning my job will be to get control of the chop and drop on contour 1 in the middle. You can see that the vetiver grass is flowering up high and the arrowroot is falling over. Arrowroot tends to fall over when it gets too tall. And this is my chop and drop row and it's rotted right down. You can see that it would benefit from some more chop and drop. The fruit trees I have in this row, I have a lime, a lemon and a lime. And I remember doing this about this time last year. That winter was coming, the sun had moved, so it is time to remove the chop and drop, to drop it down. I've also noticed that this papaya has a significant lean on it. That will also be because of the chop and drop being so tall. The vetiver is leaning forward. Last time I chopped and dropped it, I reduced the breadth of the plant and tried to contain it a bit more, and you can see that it's spread quite wide. Look how tall that vetiver is. I wouldn't be able to reach the top of that, so that's almost 3 meters, that vetiver. It's very pretty. I like the pink grass seeds on it. Well, time to stop looking and start doing. In the midst of all this chopping and dropping, I'm going to have to be careful because I have 2 zucchini plants that have finally decided to come up. So I'm going to have to be careful that I don't trample them. And look at my shallots. I transplanted them from another plot over the other side of the garden. And they are so beautiful, so green and happy, with some carrots growing between them too. And I think I can see a new pineapple fruit developing. So yeah, this garden will really appreciate having full sun, so the plants that should be producing fruit can do their thing. This papaya had problems. I don't quite know what disease it had, but it certainly had failure to thrive. You can see though that it's got some regrowth happening up the stem. Well, I'm going to cut that back to about knee high to encourage it to start sprouting from there. If I allow it to start sprouting all along the stem, I'm going to end up with a very lopsided, multi-stemmed papaya. And I've seen from my mum's experience that often ends up in a papaya that can't stand up straight. See the height of my papayas here that I have on the property. Even with the winds that we had from the recent Cyclone Alfred, they were not damaged at all. I've seen shorter ones with multi-stems damaged in lesser wind. So I'm going to chop this one down so that we only have 1 stem and it'll be coming from lower down the plant, and that should regrow beautifully. As I've embarked on this little bit of habitat destruction this morning, I've discovered one of the members of the habitat that I'm displacing. And now he's hiding. You see in there the legs of a green tree frog. Probably has a different name. There he is. These little frogs love the arrowroot. They hide between the branches. They get down into where the branch joins the main stem. And it's a lovely safe place for them. So they come down in here where the branch joins the stem and hide in there. And often I actually just find them on the underside of leaves, just sitting under there. In this environment in here, it's very moist. Lots of leaf, lots of organic matter, trapping the moisture in the air, especially on these foggy mornings. So trapping the moisture and encouraging it to be a beautiful ecosystem for the frogs. Those same frogs will continue to find a place to hide within the chop and drop row. And there are other plants that they could live on. There's no reason why they can't live on the leaves of the citrus. I often find them living on the leaves of the mulberry plant. In an environment like this, where there are many different types of plants at many different stages of growth, there's always going to be some place where the animals can find somewhere to be. Even the big grasshoppers that eat my plants, they're even going to find a place to hide. And there's nothing I can do about that. And you know, I'm not too worried about that. This is my father's world. And as someone who looks after this garden, looks after this place, it's not my job to determine who can stay and who has to go, but it's my job to create a healthy place where these animals can work out their role, where they can thrive and do the things that they need to do, even like this pardalote. And if I have a place that's safe for them to grow and to multiply, they'll be doing the job the Creator's given them to. As I hack away at this vetiver and at this arrowroot, I'm beginning to wonder if vetiver may not be the best thing to use for chop and drop. The stems are very thick, very rigid. Sometimes it takes quite some effort to get through that, which is a problem for my elbow. The more I injure my elbow, the fewer other things I'm able to do. Whereas this arrowroot, it's like running a hot knife through butter. And the amount of biomass you can see, arrowroot produces so much biomass. And vetiver, in comparison, so very little. So I'm thinking that long term, I might remove the vetiver from here. If I want to keep gardening this way for a long time, I'm going to have to make sure I do it in a way that doesn't break my body. Arrowroot is very easy to chop and drop. Vetiver, not so much. However, for the time being, it's going to stay here because we have this wall that is not retained. And the most worst thing would be for that to start falling away. Okay, step one done. I've just done a heavy drop of all the chop and drop plants. And you can see there's so much more light getting to the citrus plants now. So that's the first step of cleaning up this bed. It's a common principle of growing flowers that if you deadhead them, they'll produce more flowers. So in removing the flowers that are dead or dying, the plant is encouraged to produce more new flowers, and you end up with more flowers over a greater time period. If you look up the branch, you'll see some of these places on the branch, or the stem, more accurately, have new shoots forming. If I come up here, I can see this new growth here, which would then be very likely to produce another stem with another flower on it. So when you're pruning things back, just have a look at how it's growing. Don't just hack at it and just take it all off at head height. Have a look at the branches, because you can see there are places where the plant is ready to grow new growth. And if you harness that, you're going to be listening to the plant and allowing it to produce more beauty for you and for the insects in the garden. These carrots have been in the ground for quite some time, and I think some of them might be ready to pick. This one here, you can see its funny shape. Now this, I believe, is the result of being in the ground when we've had lots of rain. Let's see if I can pull it. Okay, lost some. So here's what we've got. It's a healthy carrot that has split. Fruit swells when the plant gets lots of water. And if it gets a lot of water after being dry, the hard fruit swelling will cause it to crack. And that's what happened with this carrot. I think I'm going to have to get a fork to dig any more out. I'm going to keep losing carrot in the ground. Over the years, I've tried various different ways of growing zucchini, sometimes on the ground. There was one season I tried to grow it up a hoop trellis. This is my new experiment this season. Now, I envisage that the zucchini plant will grow through the hole at the bottom, and then as the stem gets thicker, I'll encourage it to lean on the trellis. I've never had a zucchini that's grown any taller than that, and maybe that'll be airy enough to reduce the mold that usually forms on zucchini. Maybe that'll be good enough. A gorgeous dragonfly that's come to visit. I decided to renovate this trellis that I'm going to use for my zucchini. You can see these rather long spikes, and it has concerned me that perhaps they could be an injury risk. So I have cut the spikes off this end where it's going to be facing the pathway. I'll put those further into the garden, so they shouldn't be of any risk to anyone, except maybe me when I go to pick my lemons. Today I cash in on my deep litter in my Chook's pen. They keep my compost bin for me. So this stuff at the back here is oldest, and so that's where I'm going to take my mulch from. So I have a full barrel now, and I've hardly made a dent here underneath their feed platform. I've pulled out the weeds along the bed, and now it's time to put down some mulch on top of the ground. You can see that I had some horse manure I placed here some weeks ago, and some sugarcane mulch here. But the ground is being exposed here, so I'm going to put down some of my mulch from my Chook pen. And here it is. So it's mostly grass clippings. All my veggie scraps goes into the Chook pen, and anything that they don't eat, they bury, and it starts to decompose. It will have a lot of chicken manure in it. And we're done. So I have finished cleaning up contour 1 in the middle. It's all looking nice and ordered. So the first step was to chop down all the chop and drop. I didn't reduce the width of any of the arrowroot on the eastern side. I didn't think it had grown too far that way. However, some of it had grown towards the fruit trees on the western side. And so I pulled some of that out. And that'll go to the Chook's pen, because the Chooks seem to enjoy eating what sprouts in their pen. This papaya has a very strong lean on it. I'm hoping that with proper sunlight, it will stand up a bit more straight now. I gave the lime and the lemon and the other lime a bit of a prune, bit of a shaping prune. Removed the branches that were growing in the wrong directions. Having said that, I can see another one, but it's got fruit on it, so that's why I left it there. I exposed 2 pineapples. I put down mulch from my deep litter Chook pen down on the garden around these carrots. Most of these are little finger thickness. They just haven't grown very much. I wonder if that's because of the quality of soil here. It looks great. It looks that we have 30 centimetres of good soil, but I'm actually not seeing great growth from the soil. I mean, the amount of plants that I'm growing in this garden, I should be receiving more produce. But I don't seem to get a great harvest of anything from anything. So maybe I have to start using fertiliser. I know which one I'll use when I do. Life Force Gold through Nutritech. These shallots were knocked around quite a bit in the weeding process. They've got really soft leaves. The watering system here was established before I put the archways up and before I realigned the garden bed edges. I want to put a run of watering system down the side for my flowers at each end, so I have to make some changes. I discovered my watermelon has 2 nice new runners on it. So I've weaved that through here. The watermelons that it previously produced were attacked by insects and they rotted before they reached 20 centimetres long. Maybe I'll do better this time. I've got some beans to pick. Not many, but it's a good start. And I pruned down the Egyptian spinach that was growing here and used that as chop and drop too. I have used the lengths that I chopped down from the papaya underneath this trellis for the zucchini to create a gap so that the watering system isn't crushed. So those papaya will do that for a time. I wonder when they rot down if I will have to put something else under there. I found some logs to put under that side. So there we go, another garden bed, all beautiful and growing and ready for the new season. Thanks for watching.